Hi, everyone. I'm Christine Tulley, President and Executive Writing Coach at Defend, Publish, and Lead, and welcome to episode 208, Get Tools. This is part of a series that I'm going to do called Get Ready to Write. We've talked a little bit in past episodes about your next writing year and what kinds of things do you need to do to get ready to have a productive year starting in January, since usually we think about academic writing starting in August when we start the academic semester or September. Now, when we think about it, or at least the way I'm thinking about it right now, is thinking about how we might start in January with a fresh start. So these episodes will be relatively short for the next 2 to 3 weeks, where I just talk about a couple things to do to get ready. And I feel like these episodes also line up nicely with the time of year that we're in. At the time this episode will be released, it will be the time between Christmas, if you celebrate that holiday, and New Year's, and you may be taking some time off. So one of the things that I would encourage you to think about would be to think about what you can do to get ready to write, but also give yourself that time for a break if that's the time you're traveling or spending time with family. We've talked in past episodes about, when you're actually on a break, when you know there's a day that you really can't get any writing done, to just take a break. So I definitely encourage you to do that. But thinking ahead to what you can do to set yourself up in January, getting tools would be one of the easiest ways to just be ready to write on the first day. So by tools, these are some things I want to throw out there for you to consider. You may need a new software. So we've talked about that, about your next writing year. So if there's something that you need, maybe you need a paid version of a project management tool or a data coding software, or you need to renew a professional subscription so you have access to templates that you need. All of those things, I would take the time to just consider, are these things that I need to have set up? Do I already have some of these things set up? Do I need to change any of these things? Those were all questions we looked at in a past episode. But now, if you've identified some needs, look at what tools you might need. So certainly these can be digital. So that would be one spot to look for them. But they can also be physical. So for example, I just talked with a client who was really talking about their desk chair. And this is a client, I've actually had two that have talked to me about desk chairs over the past year, but this is another one that has just said that, after sitting in the chair for like 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, it's just really, it's painful. And there's nothing wrong with the chair. It's a perfectly good chair, but we talked about it not being the right chair if that's the place you're going to do the writing. So, one of the things that this client's doing is looking over between Christmas and New Year's just to identify a better chair, either in their house or one that they may need to purchase. So that might be something. It might be something to help with your physical comfort of writing. Here would be a couple other things. Another client that we have writes in a really cold office, but they do get writing done when they go there because it's a place that is, kind of hidden away. There's not a lot of distraction. They actually can get writing done, but during the colder months of the year, they're freezing in there. So we just talked about, what if you just get like a $20 space heater? Hopefully that won't blow a fuse or anything like that, or, strain an electric grid somewhere. But just something like that, or, just bringing an extra sweatshirt to work or something like that to make sure that you can stay warm and get some work done. They can be, again, physical comfort items. But here are some other things. I know good lighting is something that I really looked at this year because my particular office, they cut down a tree that was kind of near my window. And now I've got sunlight, which is great, but it comes in at a time of day when I can't really see my screen. And so sometimes I need to shut off my overhead light and put another light in there to just have some good light that I can write by. It doesn't affect me using my laptop. That's something that I'm looking at. So it can be all kinds of things about your writing environment that you need a tool for. But here are some other just general things. I might think through, when was the last time you actually bought supplies to do any writing? When's the last time you had some decent pens or a notebook that actually will allow you to take notes in? And I actually have a visual aid. I will, if I can find a link to it, I will put a link to it in the show notes. But one of the ones that I like here in the US is just a black Office Max notebook, and I like them because they're really durable. I throw my notebooks around in bags all the time. I like the size of the lines. It's not quite college ruled. It's hard to explain, but it's just very clean looking on the pages, and it's durable. It has a lot of pages in it, but it's not heavy. So for me, it's a great spot just to take notes while I'm working with clients. It's a good spot for me to take notes on reading if I'm not using Penzu, which I've talked about before. So, just buying some tools that you might need like that. Maybe you need some new highlighters. Maybe if you had some new highlighters, you'd be more excited about printing out those articles and reading them. So, it's just a time to really consider if you need any new tools to be able to enhance your writing experience. One last one I might ask you to consider would be if you're somebody that really likes noise, like a white noise while you're working, or you like music, maybe you need a Spotify subscription or something like that to avoid having commercial interruptions. That's something I've debated about actually. What I do instead, and I will put a link to this in the show notes, is I actually use playlists off of YouTube because they don't have commercials in them, or they usually don't, at least the ones that I'm listening to. So I'll put some links in there, but if even, getting a tool doesn't mean paying for it. It could mean just finding the tool so you're ready to roll. Maybe it's time to change up your music a little bit or your environment to make sure that you're ready to go. So at this time of year, I just ask you to consider those things. Is there anything you need to get started? And if so, what? See if you can identify and acquire it. And next week, we'll be carrying on with talking about how to get ready to write in the new year. And I'll say a little bit more about our upcoming series. So we still have spaces available. And in that series in January, we are going to focus on getting writing going in January. So if you've, kind of stalled out on your writing, you haven't been doing as much as you'd like to be doing, this is the series for you because it's designed to say, it doesn't matter that it's the beginning of January and you're starting classes. We're also starting to write again. And it might be that you have to relearn some writing habits. We'll work on different aspects each week, and you can attend live or get the recording. So I'll put the link to that in the show notes, but that's another thing that we have available to you, which I'll talk more about next week. Happy writing.